up at the top, that's Bob's. That is Bob. That's not me. That's Bob. I will not take credit, because you can even see the little Bob logo there at the bottom. That's a screenshot from the end of the episode. I'm going to use it as my guide here. So, gotta clean my palette just a wee bit here. We don't want all this light blue and liquid white piles all over. At least not yet. So, giving you guys the whole behind the scenes look at what it takes to prep as an instructor here. So I know right off the bat here, I'm going to be using my bright colors. We're making a bright, sunshiny sunset here. So, get out my yellows, I think. Let's go ahead and have a little bit of Indian yellow. And maybe, ooh, this is an old one. This is an old tube I have. Don't really go through a lot of yellow ochre, so when I stocked up, this stuff is been in my stock for quite a while. And then what are we going to need? Do we need Prussian blue, or I think we need phthalo blue? You can walk down here. I am streaming, talking to my daughter. She'll chill here in the basement too. So let's go ahead and get this painting a-going. Gonna go right into the cad yellow, maybe a little bit Indian yellow. Tap both of those colors in, just so it's not super bright canary yellow. Look at this, little crisscross strokes right across the middle. We're gonna be doing something kooky here. Right across the middle. Let it get a little bit wider. Little crisscross strokes, that's all it really takes. I'm going to take a little bit of the yellow ochre, tap some of that in, and right on top of the yellow here, I don't want to go above the color and make a new stripe. Just want to tint a little bit right there, and maybe a little bit of the yellow here. Little crisscross strokes. Blend it into your heart's content. There we go. I think I know what I'm doing. I don't even think Bob used crimson. Let me change my thought process here. Let's go into a little bit of the bright red. Bright red. Without cleaning the brush, pull some of this color out, tap firmly. You don't want chunks and lumps of color. It's going to make kind of a peachy colored here once it hits this yellow. But it's almost peachy colored right in the brush because of the previous colors we dropped in there. A little bit, look at that, a little bit of the bright red. Now let's go ahead and do some down here as well. Look at that. Not really thinking about it. You want a little bit more red than peachy? Drop in a little bit more red. I'd suggest use these little crisscross strokes when getting the paint out there. It's going to make it easier to blend. Get that out there. Now I'm going to work it up just a little bit. Hide some of that yellow. Just a little bit. Something like that. Now, without cleaning the brush, going into a little bit of the phthalo blue, maybe a touch of the crimson again, I don't know. Touch of the bright red if you want a little purplier, more purple. Let's just create a little bit of a transition color here. Look at that, it's got a little bit of unmixed red in it, a little bit of blue. Maybe down here we'll have a little bit of blue in the water. It's going to go right across. think it needs a little more here. The trick is let some of these horizontal lines stick around. That's what's going to sell it as water. Now a little bit of most of the paint out of the brush. Come in here with mostly straight phthalo blue. Ooh, make it a little brighter at the top if you want it. Crisscross strokes, blending it downward and hiding whatever you didn't like about that previous layer. You know, you can come in here and hide some of it in the water too. Something like that. We're just trying to get the color out on the canvas. Now I'll clean the brush. If you've watched me before, you know I don't take too long here. We're not going to sit here for 6 hours across 5 streams doing one painting. I admire the people that can do that. I can't do it. Yeah, I have done it a few times before. So, clean the brush. My hands are getting tired already. So I'm choking up a little bit, holding on to the metal part here. No, don't drop it, for gosh sakes. I would advise don't hold the bristles. Look what happens sometimes when they'll hold the brush and then it just won't work as well. I come back a little bit, hold on to the metal part, and I'm trying to very lightly hit it. I don't really need a lot of power. Very lightly. So if you do still have the strength there, hold the brush out, little crisscross strokes, work the transition area from the yellow to the red. Okay, once you're happy with that, work your way up and start doing the transition between the red and the purple. I kind of hit it half and half, very lightly. I'm not pushing very hard, and I'm not using the tips of the bristles. Don't want to rake it. You see here, I'm bringing my brush handle over and hitting it a little bit more with the beveled part at the top. Working my way from the middle out to the very top. Don't go back in. You'll put blue in your yellow and your yellow in your blue, and things will start going south for you. For the water, you can just drift it right across. Pick up a little excess paint, wipe it on a napkin, wrap it on your easel, give it a full cleaning in the paint bucket. Do whatever you need to do to get that paint off before going back to the middle. And you can give it one last go around here, finish it off, call it good. You're done. That's it. Now, what if it's not it? What if you want to change it again? I'm going to try something I've not done, I don't need to do, but I feel like I want to do it. Bob had his that were, his mountain looked a little brighter sky for his mountain. If you want, and Bob's done this before, we come back with a little bit of white. If you want to, drop a little white in there. Okay? My brush isn't exactly clean, so I just put some dark in there. I'm not going to do any more. We'll call that our happy accident. We'll cover it up with something. But if you're doing this in the sky, I would suggest doing the white before you go to all the other crazy colors. How about that? No, I'm embarrassed. Do we have any clouds in this particular? I don't think we do. So we'll just move on. And let's see, what are we doing here? We'll make a little bit of a mountain color here with our mountain mix with a little bit of brown in it. We don't need a ton. Our mountain isn't awfully big today. But let's put it, oh, yeah, let's put it down here. Okay? You don't often need a lot of color paint-wise when you're doing the sky. Sometimes when you want it a little more brilliant, yeah, you end up dropping a little more color in, but that can make putting the foreground and things on top of it a little soupier. So we're just going to give an idea here of of a mountain range, and it's going to have a couple of peaks, a little bit more like this. This is the left-hander's special here. I'm going to be doing something here I don't often do, but in my classes I'll often show my left-hand students how to make these mountains highlighted on the right with the left hand, or highlighted right with the right hand, or you can do it either way. But sometimes it's a little, when everyone is putting the highlights to the right and you're left-handed, it's a little more awkward position. So I'm going to show the opposite. I'm going to show you how to put highlights on the left side, but with the right hand. Before I do that, I got to come out here and move some of this color. Look at that. Woo! Touching and pulling to the left. Pulling to the left. Pulling to the left. And I'm sort of cleaning my brush down here. Over here is going to be the shadow. The shadows go to the right this time. And the highlights go to the left. Hopefully I can remember that. There we go. Not a big mountain today. Just enough to have a little bit of fun. And uh-oh. That's right. We can make lots of happy little accidents, and they turn into happy clouds and happy trees. They're happy because they got to hide something the painter didn't like. Makes me happy, makes the paint happy. Clean the brush again. There we go. Gotta clean the easel. It's starting to look all dirty and unprofessional. We're gonna need some more white, of course. Of course. Always go through more white than anything in this particular method. Let us pull some of this straight down. I grab a little bite and I pull down, pushing very firmly. I tell my students, this is the only time I let you put your hands on the knife. It's to push down while pulling down and make a nice little flat runway, paper thin. That way we can control how much paint gets loaded. And this is the tricky bit. Oh, here we go. I take my knife. Normally I would take the knife and drag it, allow it to drag behind my fingers to the right, but we want the bright snow on the left this time. So I turn my knife like this, and it's the same concept here of just allowing that paint to just graze itself off. We're just sort of guiding the general angle. But the trick is no pressure. And that paint will just sort of break and skip on its own. I'll tell you, I didn't even practice this before the stream. I haven't done this in too long. My left-handed students have been left out. I'm so happy to do this one. I'll do this one a couple of times here in the next month or two. Give my left-handers a little bit of a leg up on some of the other students. There we go. We just put a little bit out there, and we'll make up a shadow color. Shadow color is just the phthalo blue and white. Mix it up in there pretty good. And maybe a little touch more, and maybe a touch of the mountain color thrown in there. Dull it down a little bit. Okay? Pull that out nice and flat. Wipe the knife. I like wiping the knife before I get too crazy with it. See what I'm doing. And we'll take that little bit of shadow color. Ooh, that one might be a little small. I need to use the small edge here. And I gently pull a little bit of shadow to the left. Change the angle. And that helps create the effect that these Mountains are a little bit more three-dimensional. That is a weird feeling though. Pull in a little bit. There it is. That's better. As an instructor, I gotta play to my students' strengths here. And if that involves me learning how to do something offhanded, that's what I'll go through. For you guys. Alright. Now I'm starting to get up closer to that shadow there, and I'm not feeling super strong about it, so I'll take that small knife there just so I don't mess up my snow line. Working my way. Finding these little spots here between the highlights and the background color. Bring them out. That's actually looking halfway decent. How did I do that? All right, let's not press our luck. No whammies, no whammies. I'll just stop there and move along. Well, thank you guys. You're the best. All right, we need a very dry brush here. And then I just want to tap. Oh, don't want to cough. Just want to lightly tap and sweep back. Lightly tap the base of the mountain, and we'll turn some of this into soft, soft shadow. What? Soft, soft fog and mist. What was I saying? I was like thinking of the next painting or something. So I'm tapping just to destroy or diffuse, mystify the base, and then I lift to take out the tap marks. And then I sweep down here just to blend it all in. So it kind of looks like the mountain's just sort of floating just above the crimson, or red this time. No idea what I'm talking about, my friends. Look at this. Is it 7:30? Now it's almost 9 o'clock. You like the middle peak? I like that part too. Middle peak turned out a little bit better. The main peak is kind of nice. I kind of like this little jaggy bit. I tell you what, I like it so much, I'm going to see if I can improve on it. Take a little bit of that highlight. Make it a little jaggedy, a little more jaggedy. There we go. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the shadow color. What was I thinking, right? Create some new shadows on this bit. There we go. And then I'll just use the little 1-inch brush here. Destroy that, fluff that up, create a little misty bit coming down here. What do you think about the add-on? Now, what peak do you like best? That one turned out much better. Very, very craggy. Just takes practice is all. All right, now what did I do? I got rid of all that nice dark color, and it looks like I got to put in another fan brush tree line. So let's see here. I don't think I'm going to do it with just that amount of paint. So back to the tubes we go. I just opened this one today. This is our mountain mixture. And I think I'll sort of supplement it with some of the colors I already have. A little bit of the crimson I'll put over there, a little bit of the blue. Now I'll grab most of that. And let's just mix it right here. And our shadow color. Oh boy, too much dark. Too much dark. Let's take a little bit of white. There we go. We want to keep this fairly light, so I'll use some of this dark. Let me clean the brush. Let me get rid of that. I'll use that later. For now, we want to mix up a lighter mix here. Okay, still more is needed. Sometimes we got to load the brush a certain way, and it takes a lot of paint to do it. That's pretty good, I think. Don't want to go too dark like I did in my previous painting. Don't want to go too dark too quick, so let's go with that light color like that. And go right back into my, Go right back into my fan brush here. Thanks, Global Effective and Rock Bison and Find Humor in Life. Wild Investigator, I hope I can bring you back. Hopefully I can improve it. Don't like to have anyone disappointed. Let's go ahead. Jump forward. We're going to jump forward, oh gosh, 100 miles here, closer. And we're going to create some really pointy treetops. If I can keep this brush nice and loaded, we can make some very, very sharp, pointy tree bits here. Ooh, that's a tall one. Sort of tap here, keep it nice and dark in the middle. Gosh, I hope I made enough paint to do this all the way across. Look at that. See, I like to tap, just make a nice line. It's a little pointier here, a little wider here, and sometimes you tap like below it, and then below it, and below it, and below it, and then a little taller, a little taller, a little taller, a little lower, a little lower, a little lower, a little lower. And that's what I'm doing all the way across, is I'm making shorter ones and taller ones and shorter ones and taller ones. You can have it be very, regimented like that, and have it all kind of go down and then up and then down and up. You can have them just be straight across if you want. I find variation is the key. I'm trying to keep all these treetops relatively similar, but then have variations of smaller ones and bigger ones between them. So, however you want to make them is what you should do. Whatever works for you to get the desired result. Okay? My desired result is lots and lots of trees with no real gaps in between them. So I'll just come back and tap down and fill in the gaps. And if I could put my hand up like this, and if I have all these little variations of sizes and shapes, left a little bit of that mist behind. Ooh, look at that. Little tiny mist between the mountain and the trees. We did our job. We did it right. And we shouldn't just keep messing with it like I'm doing right now. Okay? The cool thing is, we'll take our brush, mostly clean, I think, and we'll grab half of it, maybe right here in the middle first. Grab about half of it and gently pull down. Pull straight down. Pull straight down. Straight down. Work your way across and turn half of it into reflections. See that? Now we don't want to go like down like this, then up over here, then over here. Just try to make them all relatively horizontal here where you touch. Relatively horizontal. You can bring the taller ones down a little bit more. Pull them down as smooth as you want them. Come across here. Very barely touching. Is that a phrase? Very barely? Barely touching. And soften it as much or as little as you want. I kind of like that blue right there in the red. I don't want to lose it. So I'll stop there. Who knows, we might not even see a lot of this. But it was fun while it lasted. Take a little bit of the liquid white and titanium white, the thickest paint and the thinnest paint. Ooh, that was a little bit too much of the thin stuff. And just moosh them together. Flat, flat, flat. Look at that. Just a flat, super flat puddle of slightly thinner white. Then clean your knife. That's the important part. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of paint, just like we're chopping vegetables. We want the paint on the edge. Sometimes Bob does this. He'll go, but I've seen that hurt my students there. If it's too big of a puddle, they pick up a little too much doing it that way. And you just cut across here. So you got that little puddle there, kind of all wanted to drop out at once. So wipe your knife clean, and you can soften everything just by going over it again. See? We're just looking for a small water line, almost like a fishing line if it's way back over there. You don't want to see it too thick. Doesn't all just need to be straight. Just has to follow where you put the reflection started. Whew, kind of lost my train of thought, didn't I? Sorry about that. Yeah, a little ripple here and there. Looks pretty nice. Man, that is just getting brilliant. More than I'm looking at the sky. Looking pretty brilliant. Well, you should give it a try. If you ever have any questions and you want to learn this method, don't hesitate. Send me a DM through Reddit or all the various things there. I'm pretty lax when it comes to my YouTube channel, but with this stream, I'll have 4 paintings to trim down and make YouTube videos. So if you missed some of it here today, you can always watch it from my profile, or maybe go to my YouTube channel and you know what I mean. Look at that little tiny bit of red mist between those. That worked out pretty good. And the mountain just sort of fades away back there. Kind of like that. All right, holy smokes, we got to get moving. Let's make some happy trees. I gave people the choice of what kind of trees I was going to make. I'm not sure if I should do that again. Let's take that brown, the blue, the red, the crimson, the mountain mix. Oh, it has a little bit of white in it. Let's see what that makes. I say, that's not near enough paint. I'm going to take a little bit. Oh, look at this. Almost got the last bit here. Let me set this easel down. Sorry I'm off camera here, but I need the power here to squeeze this last bit out. Oh, I had more than I thought, and I lost the cap. Well, this is going great. So what I'm going to do is take a hunk of this phthalo green, and I'm going to throw it into the pile. That'll give those shadowed bits of trees a little bit of a greenish cast to it, a little alpine look. I don't know. When I think of that green, this particular phthalo green, I think of Northern Europe or Scandinavia, that alpine. I don't know. Just something that I see myself, I guess. A little alpine green. So, it was a little too strong. Got to darken it down a little bit. All right. You guys know the drill. Uh-oh. Sorry, that's gross. Hey, Bailey. Oh, my daughter can't hear me because she has headphones in. me a water from the fridge? But she could hear me because she's got apparently stronger ears than I give her credit for. Oh, your video was paused. That's why. All right, I am so sorry, but we're going to be making big old happy trees here. I think the trees represent the male ego. I think that's a meme, but I definitely need a drink before I can do the trees. So if I hold this, can you grab the cap?
Yeah.
Thank you. Come on, muscles. Wrong way. That's it. There you go. My goodness. I've been talking for an hour and a half. Lots and lots of color. Loading this brush up good. All right. See, the first painting is always more of the tutorial. The second one, I'm just being a goof and starting to sing my words. So we've got some big trees, and I think our biggest tree is right out here at the end. Again, touch downward, make a little bit of a center line, and we'll take our brush. This time we're going to hold the brush center, handle to the right, and the handle down. We're going to make a little bit more of a frowny appearance to these branches, a little bit more hangy down, as Bob is wont to say. Tapping down from the center. Look at that. It's almost like little steps in a Z pattern. Tapping in the center and then down. Tapping in the center and down. Sort of fill in the center. Keeping it nice and dark. Now I try to avoid the temptation of going back too often, but there you go. And let's see, how big are we making these? We want to see a lot of this lake here, so I think I'm just about done with this one. I think some of this is going to get lost. And if you need to, let's just say our land is going to be something like this. It's going to be somewhere out there. So if it gives you an idea, if that helps you plan out your trees, throw a little line in there. Half a sketch ain't so bad. Okay, let's just go ahead. Let's do another tree somewhere like this. And we can fill in this whole area with trees quite quickly if we want to. As long as you remember to keep the tree nice and dark, a little narrower at the top. Whoa. Then a little narrower at the top than it is at the bottom. They're gonna look just fine. Tapping. That thinner mix of our tree color should stick right over that mountain snow. If it doesn't, add a little bit more paint. In extreme cases, you add a drop of paint thinner. But I find just loading your brush a little heavier, tapping a little harder, will get that paint to come off right on the top of those mountain snow bits. This tree over here, he's kind of in the background. Something like that. And let's say another one here. Not so leany on these particular trees. They all are different heights. That helps keep the tree interesting. Oh, that's a skinny little guy. And a little one. Oh, he is a leaner. He's going to be way in the background there as our forest grows. Oh, he's very sparse. Golly. Not much of a tree there. Keep putting out as many or as few of these as you want. Something like that. That's a lot of trees. There we go. Want to make him a little crazier there. All right, let's go ahead and just sort of fill in some of this here. It doesn't need to be thick or in any particular fashion, just needs to sort of follow that guideline of what you want the land to be. Sometimes I'll just mash color in like that if you want it a little darker. And look at all these little projections you can create if you want to, and if you don't want to, sort of mash some color in, call it good. I think we're going to have a lot of bushes and stuff like that, so it can be a little bit rougher. And let's go ahead. I'm going to make it a little bigger. Watch this. And maybe just some little vertical lines here. Kind of give the impression of some trees. Jam the brush in there, put a couple of branch effects, maybe not. Take our 2-inch brush, gently touch and pull, touch and pull, touch and pull, touch and pull. And now however much land you really want left, you just pull it and make it reflection. Gently come across. There, look at that. Most of that land is gone. But you can always come back and with a little bit of dark color and drop in. Say, I do really want to see a little more land. Just drop it back in. And the rest is just reflections. We got a little water line here we're going to do something with. Sometimes you make it a little bigger. Don't forget, grab a touch of it and pull it down. Gotta have the reflection there. It's gonna look a little weird. There we go. That time, I put a little too much reflection in, so now I gotta build the land back up. There it is. Whatever makes you happy. Now, I think here we'll take a little bit of liquid white and we'll get into some of this cadmium yellow and a little bit of phthalo green. Ooh, that's a bright one. Touch of the phthalo blue too. And that's still a little thick here, so if I need to, I grab just a touch more of the liquid white. That is a green color. Boy, that's electric. Let's put in some semblance of a trunk here. Just by a clean knife, just pull up or push up right through the center of the tree, break the top edge, and it adds this little 1 hair projection here. There we go. Just enough to see it. Come in with my phthalo green, cad yellow mixture, and we'll do this little guy here. Oh, it didn't come off. I'm going to grab just a half a drop of paint thinner. Very, very small amount. I don't want to lighten this anymore, but I want to thin it, so I use a touch of the paint thinner. I'm just going to tap. Right on down. Load the brush for each of these little trees. Sometimes you got to load it a couple times. But don't load it too much at the bottom here. Just let it get darker and darker as you go down. That's keeping with the shadow effect we're trying to create. Oh, these over here, maybe get a touch more highlight, but still leave a bit of dark. Gotta have some dark there so the highlights look like something. There we go. We got ourselves a little thing. Let's come up here with our 1-inch brush, and we're going to do the same thing I did in the last painting, but summer colors. which is nice, leafy, lacy bush effects. Lots of liquid white. Pull through the cad yellow, loading plenty of color up on there. And let's go ahead and put a little something right there. It's a little tough to get to. As I'm building my way here, I'm just touching and creating a little arc, okay? Just creating little arcs of bright bushes that we know are just going to be full of leaves. So I'm going to come up here. I need a little bit of sap green, I think. I don't want it all that electric phthalo green. So we can dull it with a little bit of sap green. Touch of color, just enough to tint it. Okay, there we go. Almost ran out of my yellow here. So I'll put a little brighter greenish hue. Bring that down between my two yellows, and it kind of gives a nice little contrast. So, went back into the liquid white. Now I'm going to load up, I think I just used it all up, didn't I? A little bit of yellow ochre. I put all that Indian yellow on, and it wasn't enough. Too thin still. So I'll drop right into my yellow ochre, load up a ton of color. Look at all those little lacy effects. See that? That's what's out there on my brush tips right now. So I drop very gently, barely just touching it, and we get a nice yellow ochre look. Come back over here, sort of pick up some different shades. There we go. Something along those lines. All right. Do we have a little bit of land? I think we do need a little land underneath there. And that's just taking a little bit of Van Dyke Brown. Pull this out flat, cut off a little roll. Oop, grabbed a little bit of bright red in there. And I just want to gently let drift this knife towards the center as I'm working my way to the side of the canvas. See that? You drop it in there, you kind of cut off whatever you want of the bushes, and that just, boom, turns them, makes them look a little flatter, like they're supposed to be out there. Now, I'll take a little bit of my titanium white, the nice bright white, a touch of the brown, maybe if I grab just the tiniest hint of red, something like that, I don't know. Cut it off, nice roll of color, and I just want to graze it over so some of it comes off, some of it doesn't. There we go. Creates a little rocky shore. Now, this time for the water line, I've got that same liquid white, titanium white. I'm going to get a little tiny roll, just like we had for the mountains. Now I'm going to bend the blade a little bit, and it creates a little soft faded area with a little bead of color right out there on the side. And that's what gives it the effect here. So I'm sort of rubbing out the side of the earth right up next to it, and then putting a little sharp bead to give a little ripple effect. Pretty slick. Looks like we're still streaming. I think. I hope. Might have to check the thing. I haven't seen a comment in a while. Don't tell me it died out and I'm just talking to myself forever. What do? I think I clicked that. Nope, there it is. I'm still alive. Feel free to comment and tell me how bad I'm doing. Oh, we're just getting into the most exciting part. Where'd everyone go? Look at this, I'm getting in there. Oh, look at that. I'm just bashing this 2-inch brush into my dark color. And do we want to start at the top or do we want to start at the bottom? I guess we'll just start right at the top. There we go. Look at that. We can just make all sorts of little bushy shapes and dark shapes down here. It don't matter. Kind of want to make this even bigger. Look at that. Big old tree. Look at that. Did I go too far? Comment below. Did Ted totally mess this up? I'm taking some Van Dyke Brown, paint thinner. Might be a little hard to see here. There it is. Mixing this so it's very, very thin. Going back and forth, very, very thin. Roll the brush to bring it to a nice, sharper point. And we're going to make some branches here. Here and there. I like putting these branches out like this, right up in between the sky and the trees. This gives a cool little look to me. Who knows? We got big trunks. Maybe we'll see some of them, maybe we won't. But I think I need to clean my brush. I don't want to dirty up a whole new brush, so we'll just clean it. We're about done needing a giant 2-inch brush full of color. All I needed for was that tree. Does your daughter paint? Oh, look at that. Boy, those comments are behind, aren't they? No, she doesn't oil paint. She likes doing digital paint, and well, we did get her some colored pencils. She's more of a drawer, and she likes doing 3D animations and such. So what color are we doing here? Let's go ahead and take a little bit of that green, sap green. Look at that. I'm just tapping into all these green colors here. Hopefully we got enough here. Sort of shoveling that color forward a little bit. See that? Well, let's go ahead and... Ooh, that is a bright, sunshiny. Look at that. Just little, pick out little sections. And it's duller and darker as we come back over here. That's the trick, is being able to let go and make these shapes. Let the brush make the shapes for you. See that? Maybe we got a whole different tree in front of this one. I don't know. A couple of different things happening here. Change up the color a little bit. And then we come back to our highlight colors. And whenever we want, we can bring that tree all the way down or chop it off wherever we want. Look at this. This is a nice close-up bush. Something like that. Come back, grab a little bit. Tell you what, I'm going to need a little bit more of the bright yellow. These bushes are big and they're close, so we need a lot of paint. A lost smoke monster. Oh yeah, I see that. Oh, look at this bright guy. Maybe. Whatever you like here. A little bit of the green. I do like this nice bright yellow-green color. Jamming little shapes here. Got some of that color sort of mixed in with the brush. So when I hit it, all different shades. Now I'll take a little bit of that brown. Let's go ahead and add a little path through here. Something like that. Don't want to cut off all of it, so maybe I'll use the small edge of the knife. Just start sneaking this brown color in there. Just sort of slathering this brown in a horizontal fashion here. Mainly horizontal. That'll help keep it looking flat, like a path. Then I'll take a little bit of that highlight color I made previously and just let it drift over. Just see that? Very, very lightly. And just let it get up a little closer. And where it wants to come off, it comes off. On these lower bits, I can use the long edge of the knife. Just want to create this soft little highlight. Don't got to get too crazy with it. That way when I come back with my brush, I can tap just a little bit over the path on that side. And I think we need a sparkler. We need a firecracker. So let me get most of that yellow and green off my brush. And see about getting just a touch of paint thinner here. And we'll thin down our bright red, whatever I have left on here. Hopefully I have just enough to make a little firecracker right there. Maybe, oh, can I sneak one in? Little one right there. Sometimes we got to put a little bit color just over the land here. Makes it push that land down a little bit. So there's a couple of spots where you see a little bit of leaf action. You did it. A little yellow, a little orange, something like that. Now, we can do a couple of different ways here. I can thin down that brown with the paint thinner again. Get it nice and thin. And we can scrape or just very lightly lift a couple little sticks and twigs here and there. Maybe even back here. Just sort of flick a couple in between the trees or across the front. Add all these little sticks and twigs. Some of the easier ways to do it is just take your knife, scratch through the color right here in the dark, add some little white twigs and sticks and trunks and stalks, hide a couple wherever you've left a little bit of dark, scrape through, and you'll put a little bit of light. Works pretty good. This looks kind of mushy and dull. I can tell you already there's a couple of bits I would change, but you know what? I love that little hanging down, that shape, tapping the brush. Look at how it just makes these perfect little leafy hanging down bits. Kind of like that. Kind of happy with it. I'm gonna hide a little bit, maybe brighten it out right there. Look at that. Hide that trunk a little bit. Maybe a little bit of light is striking right there. There. Find a couple of these spots. Put a little tiny more bright stuff there. About ready to lose my voice. And I got a class to teach tonight. Oh, too many. I'm just going to stop right there, my friends. Two paintinger today. Two paintings. I don't really know much else to do here, so I'll see about getting the paintings split from yesterday or 2 days ago. I got 4 videos to upload here, so if you want to subscribe, all that funky stuff, go right ahead. Or just watch them from the stream playback. Got a little bit of cleanup, some water to drink, maybe lunch. It's only 9:30. Hey, what's up, Zay4? So, hopefully I did halfway decent. If you compare the two paintings there, it looks similar, but with enough changes that, I don't know, I like his shadows there. Mine are a bit brighter. Mine look a little more alpine-like, but other than that, looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. And I will stream with you guys again. Take care, all. Feel free to follow me. rpan.me/tedsim also works. All that good stuff. Okay, did I say enough? I think I did. Where's the button? Oh, I keep getting alerts here. There we go. Oh. I can't get rid of the stream. Bye now.